Okay, this week at Bungie, 8/19/2021. This week at Bungie, we're talking weapons. This is it, the last TWaB of the season. It has been a blast watching Guardians splice their way through the Vex network, tackle Vault of Glass, and pile up a ton of new rewards during Season of the Splicer. We have jam-packed a lot of Destiny moments since Beyond Light debuted last fall. As we prepare to look forward next week, let's take a look back at some of the most epic Destiny moments. One moment. We're just going right into like the trailer, huh?
This is what I brought you here to see.
Beyond Light!
Stasis is just a tool.
It's an ice tornado, dude.
That was the sickest thing I've ever seen.
I'm in space! It's freaking Aldrin!
Bow. No.
What the heck?
What's up, baby?
Baby.
They're so cute!
Go. Together, we are enough.
I'm gonna shoot you with 6 anarchies. You're gonna sprint at that Gorgon. Run.
Get him.
Be little doodle. Run.
Get him! Hell yeah, excitement. We are less than a week away from the big reveal showcase. No spoilers, but we have a tune-in page set up, and we'll be streaming on both Twitch and YouTube on August 24th. 7 years of Destiny have led to this moment. Join us to learn more about the new adventure unlike any you've encountered before. The pre-show is starting at 8 a.m. Pacific, and the showcase itself will kick off at 9 a.m. Pacific. Come find out if you can survive the truth. I really like that tagline. I said it on Twitter a few times now, but I really think the marketing team for this upcoming release is like, they've really chosen some juicy things to dive into, is like words and stuff. Like the taglines are really good. Also, by the way, Bungie as a company, I believe it's also their 30-year anniversary. I think it already happened, maybe? So it's 7 years of Destiny, and also like 30 years of Bungie being a developer. So, it should be really fun. All right, what does the link have? Oh yeah, you can get updates. By the way, you can also, because we are allowed to co-stream it, this coming Tuesday, you can watch it here alongside me. If you want to see my reactions, have my analysis, you know where to be. I'll be live probably at 7 a.m. versus 8 a.m. to hang out. And then, yeah, 8 a.m. pre-show, 9 a.m. showcase. It's going to be good. Weapon tuning. Well, how long is this? Ooh, okay. I'm going to go ahead and chloroseptic up my cold sore. Delicious. Okay. Next week's update is using a new season. Is ushering in a new season and a big sandbox update to go with it. We've already covered ability tuning and armor mod changes, and now it's time to go over what is changing with weapons. Here is weapons feature lead Chris Proctor with a full rundown. Chris Proctor. G'day, it's Chris again. We've got a lot to talk about in Season 15, including stasis weapons, a rework of fusion rifles, and several changes intended to make certain weapons more relevant in the new activity and with new artifact mods. Are they going to show us the new artifact mods? Excitement. Let's kick off by clarifying some terminology. So listen carefully here, chat, because this is going to probably set the tone for a lot of the words you're going to be using, so these are important. Some of the recent info on weapons we put out has been confusing, and while I generally like to use our internal terms for concepts where possible, in some cases these require too much explanation to use them externally. Here's some clarifications to help. Fall off. Internally, we use fall off minimum and fall off maximum to mean start and end. But moving forward, we use these externally using damage as an example, but the same logic applies to aim assist and whatnot. Damage, fall off, start. The distance at which damage fall off begins or stops using maximum damage. damage fall off end, the distance at which damage fall off ends or hits the damage floor. An example of this is if you saw me doing GMs, solo GMs, remember with my scout rifle? When I was in range, I was doing the same critical number damage all the time. When I would, let's say, shoot those Cabal that were above the man cannon very, very far away from me, my scout rifle would do minimal damage. That is damage fall off, and that is what that's about. Projectiles. We have used various terms to describe these types externally, including borrowing terms from other genres. Oops, we have settled on these. Hit scan. A projectile that instantly hits. This applies to most weapons in the game, for example, auto rifles, hand cannons, fusions, fully drawn bows at most distances. Non-hit scan. Projectiles that have travel time. Sometimes having physics bounces, and often having explosive damage and or homing. Rocket launchers, grenade launchers, partially drawn bows, Jotun. Non-weaponry that does the same thing, think of grenades. Grenades are not hit scan, they have travel time, they have a distance they have to travel, and then detonate. Shotguns. Spread angle. The cone the pellets come out in. Not to be confused with one of the other types of cones, this determines the size of the outer ring below. Destiny 2 shotguns don't have pure RNG for pellet distribution, though yes, it sure feels like it sometimes, which seems worth diving into. A shotgun shot contains 12 pellets, as long as it's not a slug shotgun, spread out across 3 rings as follows. Center, 1 pellet right in the middle, which is probably your slug, in most cases. Inner ring, 4 wedges with 1 pellet each. Outer ring, 7 wedges with 1 pellet each. So aside from the center, which is in a fixed location, each pellet is only randomized inside of a defined wedge, angle, and or inner outer radius. That makes sense to me. Global. Oh, is that the end of the... Cool. Season 15 introduces... We'll get there. Global. So yeah, stasis weapons. We've been seeing some concern about how these are intended to work, particularly in PvP, so here are some details. Stasis power weapons are in the power slot, but all other stasis weapons are in the kinetic slot. This is to avoid overcrowding the energy slot, so it is reasonable to use one in match game content. The kinetic slots will not be renamed at this time. Stasis weapons don't intrinsically do anything differently from weapons of other damage types, but they are only weapons that can roll with stasis perks. We generally intend stasis perks with slowing or freezing effects to have a kill trigger, this being easy enough to trigger in PvE and fun to use, but not obnoxious to play against in PvP. So I wonder if there's going to be like a freezing kill clip, where after getting a kill, you reload your gun, and then like X number of pellets will freeze your target. I'm curious. Now that we've addressed Quick Draw's permanent plus 100 handling buff, which was in a previous TWaB, by the way, we see more people using the Quick Swap glitch. This glitch uses combinations of inputs to animation cancel, allowing near instant weapon swaps. We want the handling stat to continue to have value on weapons, but don't want, for example, aggressive shotguns to lose their key downside, which is slow swaps, due to an unintentional side effect of the animation system. So they have now officially fixed the Quick Swap glitch. I think it was a lot of PvP folks thought that was part of the skill gap. I think this is good. It makes handling matter a lot more, and I agree completely with the aggressive shotgun take entirely. So I think this is nothing but good. I understand that it might be less fun to use some weapons because it's fun to use a glitch, but like, it's still a glitch. I don't know what to tell you. Running out of primary ammo has never been tactically interesting. Running out in hard PvE content or because you were on a tear in PvP was a weird and sometimes frustrating experience that would like to not subject to anyone in the future. All primary ammo weapons now have infinite ammo. Inertia override has been adjusted to account for there being no primary ammo bricks. Drop mag's downside of reducing reserve ammo is now almost meaningless. They reworked it to be plus reload speed, minus magazine size. That makes sense, because otherwise drop mag would be fucking broken. Compact arrow shafts upside of increasing reserve ammo likewise. Reworked to be plus reload and plus handling. Updated some other perks that refer to reserves in a way that's no longer accurate. See notes on Fighting Lion and Sweet Business in the exotic section below. So for those who are concerned about fighting Lion, and I guess all sweet business, we'll find out soon. Target farming Trials weapons is much more efficient in Season 15, and we have some cool new perks for players to play with that we wanted to put on Trials weapons. Oh, all Trials weapons available in Season 15 now have 7 perks in each column, was 5. Interesting, I wonder what they're adding. Arblast is a kinetic, Christoph. It's a special weapon, though. When max power levels on weapons launched and we reissued several weapons, we saw how frustrated players were at having to regrind their favorite rolls, since the perk pools hadn't changed. Based on that, our reissue guidelines from Season 13 onwards were to replace most of the perks. Turns out that that was an overcorrection, and that certain perks, certain perks in the original pools had become part of the identity of a weapon. Moving forward, the guidelines for reissues will be remove the least useful 2 to 3 perks and add 2 to 3 newer perks that give the weapon some new options and may result in the entirely new top tier rolls without removing the old one. Great change, straight up. Because I agree with that. Like reissuing a gun with more garbage rolls or rolls that don't make the gun fun anymore feels pointless. So that seems like it fixes it. Great. We have made some small adjustments to the weapons reissued in 3.2.1 update to move these in a direction on the new reissue guidelines. And if you were wondering why our community managers were asking for everyone's favorite rolls, now you know. Added 1 or 2 of the original perks each column for the Luna weapons. Since these can be target farmed, we're okay with increasing the size of the perk pools in this case. For those who don't know, you can go to the Lectern on the Moon, choose specific weaponry, and also there is the weapons you get guaranteed from clearing a full thing of Altar of Sorrow. Added 1 of the original perks to 1 or both columns for the Dreaming City weapons, reissued in 3.2.1, Tiger Spite, Twilight Oath, Abide the Return. I just realized that they just said Lectern only. I kind of grazed over that, so ignore what I just said. Since these cannot be target farmed yet, we didn't want to increase the size pools by more than 1. So if you didn't like any of the Tiger Spite rolls, there might be a good one for you now. I wonder if this is why the APIs also went down earlier. I'm curious. Archetypes. Note, exotics receive these changes as written unless otherwise mentioned in the exotics section below. So assume that if you have an exotic that fits under one of these specific archetypes, it is receiving the change. With the exception of ones that they'll list below, I'm going to assume that Fighting Lion and Sweet Business are one of those exceptions. Okay. Breach grenade launchers are increasing as a pain point in PvP, and with a shotgun nerf, we're seeing a small increase in usage. This change aims to reduce the ease of getting big splash damage for priming or cleaning up targets. Watch how things change and make further adjustments in future updates if needed. Note that we are fine with how they perform in PvE, so we have compensated there. Reduce the blast radius by 0.4 meters, e.g., max blast radius decreased from 4.55 to 4.15. Minimum blast radius decreased from 3.8 to 3.4. Reduced splash damage by 20, which reduces total damage for direct hit from 220 to 200 before taking spike or proximity grenades into account. Increased total PvE damage by 12% because of the above splash damage change. This results in a small overall buff to combined damage. This specifically means if you're currently landing your spike grenade launcher shots onto a target, it is just going to be a flat 12% increase for you. So congrats. Your grenade launcher's better now. You empty vessels, truth tellers, stuff like that. Witherhorde does not receive this change. Excitement. While machine gun usage is surprisingly high, we felt that they weren't fulfilling their intended role in high difficult content. Correct. PvE damage up by 20%. Thunderlord back on the table, baby. Let's go. I'm excited. Scout rifles and hand cannons have felt weaker than we'd like in hard PvE content for quite a while. Increased damage versus miners by 50%. Fan-fucking-tastic. Great. More one-tap hand cannons. Ideally, more faster kills with scout rifles. 140s aren't going to suck anymore in PvE content. Fatebringer just got better, and it already felt pretty fucking good with explosive rounds. Scouts weren't bad against miners. They kind of were, They're being used in GM content really heavily, and they're seeing a lot of surge in use due to anti-barrier scout rifles. Scouts are still very underpowered. Their time to kill, pretty high, comparatively. For a precision weapon, pretty high. So if anything, this scout rifle change with this, you're probably only going to see this change for literally top-end content. But trust me, as someone who used a scout rifle very heavily the past week, doing a very stupid thing, this is very welcomed. All right, here we go, diving into fusions. Oh, God. Fusion rifles have benefited indirectly from the mid-season 15 shotgun nerf, but fusion rifles subfamilies weren't as different from each other as we wanted, and weren't all useful in a variety of content. So we've looked at all the options we have for diversifying them and ended up with some substantial changes. This is not intended to be a global buff for fusion rifles, but we expect some of these to be better counters to other weapons than they were previously. Note that we also have evaluated some other options, which are worth a bit of discussion. Giving projectiles travel time. We did like the idea of this behavior in D1, but on investigation found that there were networking issues with firing rapid bursts of non-hit scan projectiles, and they didn't play as well as we wanted them to. We may look at this option again in the future. Basically, that would mean, so like, if you think of like a weapon like Merciless, where once you have it primed all the way up, I'm assuming there is bugs that emerge if that weapon is not hit scan. If you are confused by what this is saying, that if the bolt from your fusion rifle takes time to actually go somewhere, the fast firing versions of fusion rifles might break something inside of the game. Burst rate of fire. This would have meant touching design data and audio for every fusion rifle we've ever shipped. Well beyond the scope we wanted for this change, and also not that interesting rate of a change. I mean, that actually does sound interesting to me, but, you know. Increased PvE damage bonus such that all subfamilies have a plus 15% PvE bonus. Previously, high impact was 0, precision and adaptive were 10, and rapid fire was 12.5. Plug one's an aggressive, isn't it? Hold on. No, not Final Fantasy. Stop. No. No. God, there we are. Yeah, I'm here. Shut up. No, it's precision. Never mind. We went to all the wrong screens. It was really bad. That's great. Love it. Pushed subfamilies further apart, adjusting the charge time. Shots fired per burst was 7 for all subfamilies, and damage, note the base below means without battery perks and charge time masterworks or the add up charge time mod. High impacts charge slower, and while still strong, require more planning to use effectively. Base charge time up to 1 second. Shot per burst reduced from 7 to 5. Reduced total damage per burst. Wait, is this why you do the 50% change? In playtests, we found that charging these in the open is super risky, but pre-charging around corners otherwise safety is very effective. With the reduced shots per burst, these are now less reliant on stability, so it can stack a bit more range. I mean, if anything, like, I guess that means that high impacts are going to be your crucible fusion. But if they've reduced the total damage per burst, why would I want to fucking use this in PvE content when it's already struggling? So I don't know. I feel like I need to use this weapon in the game to understand. But my knee-jerk reaction is that I don't understand. So it'll be really good at range than previously. So if you wanted to have like a mid-long range fusion, I guess that's the purpose. But like in PvE, then like why not use a grenade launcher or a sniper, right? So I don't know. Weird. I will have to play with it to really have an understanding. Precisions and adaptives are close to unchanged. They have a little bit of that increase from what, 10 to 15% right here, right? Yeah. Shots per burst is still 7. Slightly increased total damage per burst. In playtesting, we feel that these are very effective all around without stepping on the niches of high impact and rapid fire. So I'll be keeping a good plug 1 for PvP. Rapid fires charge faster, allowing them to be used reactively against charging enemies or aggressively when pushing forward. Base charge time increased from 0.54 to 0.46. Shots per burst increased from 7 to 9. Increased total damage per burst. In playtesting, we found that these are very effective against shotgun rushers. The combination of them needing to be closer and you having a shorter charge time works well together. If you have good enough timing, you can fire 2 bursts with a rapid fire before a high-impact user finishes charging their first. With the increased shots per burst, these are now more reliant on stability, but with the increased damage, they were less reliant on range. Parts of this work required adjusting several Fusion Rifle perks in one mod. Backup Plan's implementation was incompatible with the Fusion Rifle changes, and we felt like the perk could use a rework anyway. Removed the plus 100 to the charge time stat, adjusted charge time multiplier from 0.85 to 0.7, now scales damage by 0.8. So I guess it reduces charge time and then also reduces damage by a little bit. Look at coils and accelerated coils need rework for similar reasons. Both converted to scale charge time and damage instead of modifying the charge time stat. The final effect is much as the same as before, but these are now more robust. However, they won't visibly change the charge time stat in the inspection screen. The add-up charge time mod felt pointless. It felt like it would still be balanced against other mods if it didn't reduce damage. Change functionality to scale charge time directly instead of changing the charge time stat without adjusting the damage. That's good. That's a good change. So that means that the mod no longer will affect your damage, but I guess Masterwork... Oh, you know, I'm going to keep reading. How about that? A Fusion Rifle's damage is determined by its charge time stat, similar to how most others' weapons' damage is determined by the rate of fire stat. Masterworks can only increase weapon stats for performance reasons, so it's not possible to change how charge time maps onto damage without big changes to how charge time stat works. We investigated doing this by making the Masterwork a perk, but this would cause the Fusion Rifles to exceed the perk budget, resulting in bad things happening, as mentioned in a prior TWaB. With the Fusion Rifle rework, we feel that Masterwork is more viable. It now rarely reduces bolts to kill, so may not feel like a downgrade in the same way as before. I mean, remove the Masterwork. You're saying it may not feel like a downgrade, which means it's not an upgrade, which means all you're doing is adding the ability to make orbs. Make it to where it can't roll charge time. To me, that's what I would do, based off everything you just told me. We're watching to see how this plays out and have some options to have addressed the issues that's still needed. Adjust the Fusion Rifle stat order so it matches other weapons. Stability and handling are out of order. This is a big change to Fusion Rifles, including all exotic fusions. We'll be watching for any major issues and we'll make tweaks as needed. I'll be honest. I need to play with it. It seems like they're changing how they're used, when in my personal opinion, Fusion Rifle's biggest issue was, at least not in Crucible. Crucible, I think this is a good change for. For PvE, it's always been a damage thing. So maybe that little bit of a bonus to like high impacts, rapid fires, and adaptives are going to be enough. But like, I mean, I don't want to lie to you. This is disappointing. To me. I can also tell you, I knew a bulk of this now that they've talked about it. This was one of the things we talked about at the thing I attended. And I said the same thing there. I said I need to play with it in game, but on paper, this does not feel like it's going to change how people use Fusion Rifles. It feels like a quality of life update when they need more than that. So yeah, that is, like I said, I need to play with it. I don't want to give a reactionary hot take saying this is terrible or anything like that. But on paper, I am disappointed. Was the thing I attended? 2 months ago, maybe? It was during this season. No, it wasn't. It was, no, was it? No, it was during this season. It was during the season. During the season. I would have to go dig up the date. Breach crane launches do better, safer damage at range and blind things whenever you use PvE fusions. That's what I'm saying, right? Like, all of these feel like quality of life changes, like on stats, but it doesn't feel like any of this is performance. Like, to me, I feel like they interpreted us saying we don't like fusions as saying that the different archetypes of fusions are the problem, when it is just the overall usage of how fusions interact with the rest of the video game and the sandbox that is the problem. I do not mind every different fusion rifle having a deeper and more thorough identity. That is not bad. I'm not saying any of these things are bad. I just don't know if this solves the issue that fusions currently have. I feel like it doesn't, but I need to play with it. I need to keep reiterating that like, I want to make sure I'm not being a reactionary, like, fuck it, okay, you know, I don't want to do that. But I am being very honest that after reading this, I'm still disappointed, you know? Maybe on Tuesday, because I have some builds ramped up, ready to go with fusions, maybe I'll fall in love with it, you know? I think it's one of those things where we really need to feel it in the game before I can give a proper opinion. So maybe sometime later next week, I can talk about it some more. Great. Great. Exotics. What's that? The Anarchy Exotic Grenade Launcher has been dominant for years now. We're ignoring the season with sweet grenade launcher artifact mods, of course, being near mandatory for certain raid bosses combined with EG double slug shotguns, as well as excelling as solo weapon for added clears in some encounters. We like that it's a great choice for hard solo content and trapping enemy spawns and choke points, but I don't want it to remain part of a dominant tactic for boss damage. And particularly don't want it to be great for boss damage and add clears in a single encounter. With this change, we expect to remain strong without being borderline usable as primary. That's big. This, combined with this, huge. I'm curious how much it's going to have if you run double grenade reserves. Probably no more than 20, I'd wager. Which is still a full clip missing. And then the reduced damage to bosses. Sucks. I don't know, bud. It might be okay. I don't know if this is enough. I actually don't think it's absolutely destroyed. One, I think it's still going to be amazing. And, like, put it this way. For raids, I think you might see another heavy weapon pop up that might be better. If you look at, like, so for example, like an auto-loading rocket launcher that you can swap to fire, put away with, like, lasting impression of Vorpal. I am curious if that is going to be equivalent damage. But you're right. It is free damage during DPS. Yeah, I understand. Trust me. I completely understand. What I'm saying is that when you swap to a heavy weapon, whether it's Anarchy or not, there's still a total amount of damage Anarchy a double tag will do. What I'm saying is I'm curious if this reduced boss damage will make it in line where if I swap to a lasting impression auto-loading grenade launcher to fire once before going back to my double slug, I am curious if that will still be good. This is still gonna see play. Abso-fucking-lutely. I don't want to say that this is, you know, the death of it, or that it'll still be ultra meta. I think much like what I said before, we need to experience it inside of the game. But I will say, I don't think this has neutered the gun. I think it's still going to be a very good option, but I do believe it is going to be, it's still going to feel effective. In GMs, I absolutely think you're still going to see it used. Abso-fucking-lutely. If you're doing solo GMs, you're still absolutely going to use it. 100%. But for the rest of the population, where you're with 6 Guardians and a raid content, this might open up other areas. So, I'm happy. This is more than I thought they were going to do. Is it enough? I don't know. But at least it's a step in what I believe to be the correct direction. Especially because Breach and Clear is going to go away too. For solo content, Wither Horde and Rocket Launch has been more viable for a long time. Hasn't changed that. I wouldn't say it's more viable than Anarchy. That is absolutely insane to hear. Is it good? Absolutely. Is it better because Anarchy's getting nerfed? Yes. But to be like, unironically saying that rockets plus Wither Horde and a slug shotgun is better on Templar with how the old sandbox worked, I do not agree. But anyways, I'm getting distracted. Moving on. Xenophage. Xeno was already top-notch, so didn't need the benefit from global machine gun buffs. It does benefit from a damage per bullet buff to machine guns, but now has slower rate of fire to compensate. Resulting in slower damage per second, but higher burst damage and sustained damage, since it's now more ammo efficient. Great. No complaints. Fighting Lion has always been fun, but not dominant in PvE, so we weren't worried about the impact infinite ammo would have there. I think we all agree on that one. However, enabling fast and unlimited grenade spamming was too much in PvP based on... Trying to play this speed address the specific issue without significantly impacting his feel in PvE. Fighting Lion reserve ammo increased from a lot to infinite. Receives the same changes as other breach load launchers. Reduce the base reload stat to 0. So it's going to reload very slowly. Now increases reload speed to its previous level on damaging multiple enemies with one grenade. We'll be keeping an eye on this, but believe it's in a good place with this change, and note that we're not going to over-nerf an exotic with its own subreddit. Oh. Does the Fighting Lion have its own subreddit? That's amazing. You shouldn't be manually reloading Fighting Lion anyway? Get shit on! Get told! Love that. Called out. I like that. So basically, if you use it to spam in PvP, you're gonna have the turd reload. But if you're using it in PvE and reliably hitting multiple targets or using its exotic perk, you're not even gonna notice it. So yeah, that's actually a really good functional change. Great job. We'll see how it works in PvP, but that is a very well thought out decision. All right, that's a lot of stuff. That's hey, Mythic class could be really fucking good. All right. We were cautious with tuning this one at launch, knowing that shipping a dominant weapon that has incredibly low ownership would break PvP, and aimed for balance, but erring on the side of not letting this ship too strong. However, it fell short of balance. Ownership is much higher now, and we want it to be strong enough to be a desirable weapon to go for Vault of Glass. PvE, 40% damage increase. Fuck. Range stat increased to near best in class for high impact auto rifles. Increased stability stat. Reworked catalyst to grant stability and damage after a kill. Increased rate of fire from 360 to 390. Reduced linear fusion mode charge time from 820 to 533. No longer loses charge stacks on Stow except when linear fusion. Holy shit! Mythos back on the table! That's awesome! Holy shit! Literally all it got were buffs, and all of them are really good. In my veins, dude. Holy fuck. It's still a primary, but like it's gonna dick on other exotic primaries now. Oh, I love that. That's gonna be so fun to use. Also, hey, listen. You can do this, Bungie. This right here, you can do this. If you don't mind, there's another weapon in the game that I think should do the same thing. So that way it's not terrible. Okay. Merciless. We had touched this anyway because of the future level changes and figured we're in there. We might as well make a buff we've been thinking about. Updated the perk to account for fewer shots per burst. Reduced deadly penalty for increasing charge rate by 40%. Ooh! Nice! That could be better too. So, for those who don't know, as the Merciless charge time went up, its damage did go down. So it looks like they reduced that by quite a lot. So I'm excited about that. Jotun. Because of how the charge time stat works on fusions, we made a small change to avoid breaking this weapon, and playtesting makes almost no difference, but it didn't mention it, someone would notice. Totally fair. Just a little bit faster, a little bit less damage. Literally will not even change PvP. Doubtably will even be noticeable in PvE. But I agree, someone would notice it because they're like, Jotun's their favorite gun. Bastion. Dude, we're only this far God damn. Bastion feels very strong with shotguns being less dominant, so we're preemptively adjusting it in PvP. It's also super low usage of PvE, so we're buffing it there too. Reduced damage by 50% can now not quite kill a Guardian with one shot in 3 bursts if burst fires. Increases the spread angle by 10%. Also increased PvE damage 25%. So overall, it's going to get around 10% increased PvE with the changes to other things too. Interesting. You know, that's a good point. It wasn't seeing a lot of usage, but Bastion was a very good counter shotgun weapon because it was really it was enormously safe to pre-fire, because unlike other fusions where you fire all your bolts pretty much immediately, because your Bastion fires in 3 separate distinct shotgun bursts, it was very good. Sweet business. Perks refilling the magazine, picking up primary and orcs, blah, 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 blah. Now I feel it's not picking up special heavy ammo instead of primaries. It's got like overflow, but only for that. Chat, you can now become a Centurion. Sorry, no, Colossus. Become the Colossus. Become the Daka Daka. What is the point of Bastion level 1 hit KO now? It fires 3 bursts. Think of it like a fusion rifle where a single bolt could kill you. Now you must land multiple bolts to kill a target. We had air. Yeah, but now it's not a heavy weapon. Now I can do it in Crucible all the time. This Fusion Rifle Saber will still pretty much be Fusion Rifle Saber. Yeah, it's still gonna be very good. Like, I promise you. As someone who used it a lot, it's very good. It just has a little, yeah, it's just a little bit less forgiving now. Now you have to land at least 2 bolts, or 2 sets of shots out of the 3. Redline 3P to me, I said landing all 3 would not result in a kill. Oh no, yeah, you're misunderstanding. If that was true, yeah, that would be garbage. Hey, we have a special weapon with a crazy large charge time. It doesn't kill anyone. Do you want to use it in Crucible? What? No. What? What? But yeah, no. So what it used to be is if they were close enough, the first bolt would just kill somebody. It'd be just enough. So they've changed that to now requiring 2. There you go. Stop meowing at me. VFX. Oh, sorry, we also incorrectly. Wait. Did I skip stuff? I super did. My bad. Sorry. Don't yell at me. Chat. All right, firing line. Updating the perk. We like the idea of the perk. It was just giving away a bit too much damage for almost free. Wait, you nerfed firing line? Why? Like, it was very good, but... Okay, here's how I'm going to choose to interpret this. They are foreseeing that due to other changes in the sandbox, this perk will see more use. And because of how much it might see more use, outliers that had a higher precision damage modifier were going to be too strong. That is how I'm choosing to interpret that. That it will still be very good, but maybe because of changes that are happening now, it needs a little bit of tuning to avoid being a problem. That's what I'm going to say. Now, Bunce is just like walking around this box and meowing at me. I don't know what she's doing. Being a weirdo. Certain damage perks only affected impact damage on explosive weapons. We've updated the specific perks also include detonation damage, kill clip, rampage, general, and junkie. Oh, interesting. So, like, if you had a, like a kill clip, rampage, or junkie, like, breach load launcher, it was not impacting the explosion. I never knew that. Also, fixed incorrect rarity on some recently shipped weapon perks. VFX. Weapon VFX were all custom and some didn't meet our desired cool factors, so we've rebuilt these to speed up the process of adding new weapons for updating old ones, while updating visuals at the same time. Updated all grenade launcher and rocket launcher's visual effects. Legendary fusion and linear fusions now have a distinct damage type charge VFX. Great. The near future. We're devoting a lot of energy to the Witch Queen expansion. And there are a ton of things changing in a few weeks, so we want to see how things shake out before deciding on further tuning. We will be watching Season 15 launch closely and are ready to make some small adjustments as needed in the first half of the season. The more distant future, but still before Witch Queen, linear fusion rifles and caster frame swords are still not where we want them to be. Expect some tweaks. We are also looking at underused, underpowered exotics, and we'll be taking a pass at some of them, including Arbalest, Suros, Cryosthesia, Malfeasance, and more. If you have issues with spamming high rate of fire semi-automatic weapons as fast as possible, we've got something that works for you. I wonder if they're gonna have like I wonder if they're gonna make full auto intrinsic more often. Yeah, maybe you'll have like an option in your settings. For example, if you're someone who has like carpal tunnel, I bet that like firing a fast rate of fire but non-full auto weapon probably sucks ass. Or like scout players too. And I totally agree with that. Absolutely. My mother has carpal tunnel, so that would be great. That's a great. I hope that's what that is. I don't know, obviously, but that would be a great accessibility feature. Priming a target and quickly swapping for a cleanup is easier than we'd like, and we're looking at options for building towards faster swap speeds. We've got a step at hitting both these points coming. Okay. Witch Queen and Beyond. Okay, first off, that thing looks awesome. Okay, stop me. Read, idiot. We talked previously about wanting legendary weapons to have more identity based on their source and expecting to ship a new system for this in the future or close to the Witch Queen. Interesting. I wonder if you're going to have perks based off location as like intrinsic extra perks. Like, a weapon you get inside of, like, hypothetically speaking, like Vogue might be better in Vogue by a little bit than other options to make them, you know, more unique to the places they come from. Buns, what do you want? Cool. Huh. In Season 15, we tweaked exotic primary weapons to generate ammo faster through ammo finder mods, and we have another change planned to make them more exciting and hard PvE content. That's all we've got for weapon changes for now. We're looking forward to seeing how the PvP and PvE metas shape up once you're all have your hands on them next week. Chris, that was a lot. I'm going to quickly go over it again in case I missed anything, or just reiterate what I already said. Infinite primary ammo, great all around. No complaints. Very, very happy. The changes they're making that seem very good. The archetype for breach load launchers also seems very good. It means basically it's a buff to those who are already good with them in PvE, and otherwise makes them a bit less oppressive in Crucible. Machine gun increase, fantastic. Scout and hand cannon increase for damage in PvE contact against miners, fantastic. Fusion rifles, I don't know if this will be enough to get people using fusion rifles. I expect it won't, but I could be wrong. Exotics, anarchy. A very, very good start. It is a lot of changes. It's going to be meta still for single player content. It's still probably what people are going to use for GMs. We'll see. Xenophage, just good. Fighting Lion, got a really good tuning change to make it still not be oppressive in Crucible while still having infinite ammo. Mythoclast is showing you how big its penis is. Merciless, gonna be better too. Jotun, no changes really. Bastion, little less oppressive in Crucible since they're changing shotguns. Sweet business, great. Firing Line, probably tuning it to make sure it's not oppressive in the future. Kill Clip, Rampage, Adrenaline Junkie now work with explosions, not just with impacts. Great. Gons. We are still holding a lot of the details on Season of the Redacted close to the chest, including the new Season 15 arsenal you will start to discover next week. We do want to show you some of the other weapons we'll be earning next season. Next season's ritual quest weapons is a rocket launcher with the explosive light perk. Wait, Is explosive light if you're supercharged, it does more damage? Is that what it is? Yeah, it was Wendigo's perk? Yeah, that's right. On a rocket. Interesting. Collecting orbs increases damage too. Oh, gotcha. I totally forgot about Wendigo. It was meta though. So, I mean, like, it looks cool too. I like how shapely it is. It's very angular. My cat's being very obtuse right now. Sidearm, scout rifle, auto rifle. Adding these weapons as post-game rewards for completing Vanguard strikes, I assume Gambit, and Crucible matches. Start up rarely after completing these activities and random rolls. Here's a sneak peek. Why? I feel like Gambit has like 1 million scouts. Am I crazy? I feel like I've seen this scout like 15 times. There's also one that kind of looks like this in Season of the Hunt. Game is well, that's what I'm saying is that I feel like since vanilla, really? I'm just crazy then. Ignore me. I'm gonna ignore this because I assume this is totally irrelevant. Nobody cares about Trials of the Nine, right? On top of all these weapons, we're also updating the world pool with some fresh drops. Here's some new weapons you can expect to start seeing pop up in the wilds. Ooh. I'm joking. Yeah, that looks like a Scathe lock. That is the Dead Over Advice scout. Should be full auto. I want to say that is the Earth's sniper. New Monarchy pulse rifle. I think it's a 4-burst. I don't recognize these two. Been wet? It's the annual. Oh yeah, it's the annual skate. What's this then? Is this brand new? This guy? Sidearm? It's from Warmind, if I recall. Dude, y'all have such good memory. That's why I keep y'all around. You're like a hive mind. Okay. We also have plans to fresh up the loot pool of the Prophecy Dungeon. We've been seeing a lot of feedback to bring forward weapons original from the World's Trial of the 9. 9 weapons such as Factory Fit. Weapons have been upgraded with random rolls. Dude, I love that. Great. I'll be running Prophecy. I love the Scout. The Scout's fucking awesome. And potentially one of my favorite Scouts in the game. The End. Oh, it's also Void! Another Void Scout! Finally! Sick! That sniper? No, it's there's one called The End. I'm not saying, listen, I'm assuming they're bringing The End forward as well. Like, I'm not pointing to the sniper saying it is The End. I'm just saying in general. And before they don't bring it forward, and I'm sad about it. Either ways. Relief effort. At Bungie, it is our mission to build worlds that inspire friendship. We also realize the fortunate position we find ourselves in. And we believe in the power, compassion, and generosity of our community to amplify our efforts to reduce distress and suffering in the world. We believe that games can be a powerful force for good, and we believe it is our responsibility to use our voice and to support your desire to help those in need. The Bungie Foundation's mission is to put those beliefs to work. We are a people-focused organization that builds and empowers our community to improve the health and well-being of children, uplift the rights of all individuals and communities, and provide aid in times of crisis. We act as the charitable giving arm of the Bungie in order to express our company's values outwardly to the world around us. We developed strategic programs and partnerships in order to accomplish our mission. Our partners in disaster relief, direct relief, which I've worked with in the past, and Team Rubicon, are doing profound and meaningful work around the globe to provide direct aid, agility, and expertise in response to the numerous humanitarian crises our world is facing, including the Haiti earthquake and global climate change impacts and COVID-19. We invite you to jump into action with us to develop a fund that will both support their efforts as well as to help build a pool of reserves that can be leveraged to support future humanitarian needs strategically and rapidly. Between now and September 1st, we have a few exciting opportunities to help those in need around the world, along with some incredible incentives to thank you for doing so. Here is how it will work. $25 donation. you get the anchor point emblem. So do y'all remember on remember yesterday during Jurassic Zoo I said somebody was DMing me, and I really wanted to show what we were DMing about because they told me explicitly not to. DMG shot me this emblem. He was just telling me a little bit about what was going to be happening in the future. So it jokes on you, DMG. You just got owned. I just owned you. Wrecked. Savage. Obliterated. But yeah, that's a cool emblem. I like it a lot. Oh, I didn't see this. That's dope. So pre-order the shirt for $25. Oh, and they'll match you up to 25K. Sick. Every customer will see the Vital Elixir emblem. Ooh, that looks like that'd be about next season. The Bungie Store Initiative. All purchase from the Bungie Foundation collection made through the month of August will support the humanitarian aid. Will support the disaster. Wait. Support the humanitarian aid. Will support the disaster relief fund. I assume it's both. I assume and will is what's supposed to be right here. All purchases from the collection will receive the Planet of Peace emblem delivered via email after purchase is completed. Note, to be eligible for the in-game items listed above, donations and or purchases must be made between now and the 1st of September. Chat, that's how you're going to get it. A little more about the charities. Team Rubicon, TR, is a veteran-led disaster response organization helping vulnerable communities prepare, respond, and recover after natural disasters and humanitarian crises. They acknowledge that crises such as COVID-19, impacts of climate change, and increasing natural disasters are ubiquitous. That is why funds raised through this campaign will support TR's effort to meet critical needs around the U.S. and globally, including high-priority efforts such as the Haiti earthquake, wildfires, and global COVID-19 support. But these funds will do more than that. The Bungie Foundation and TR's goal is to leverage these funds to provide exponential and incremental impact to the most vulnerable populations here and around the world now and into the future. Direct Relief is a humanitarian aid organization active in all 50 states and more than 80 countries with a mission to improve the health and lives of people affected by poverty or emergencies, without regard to politics, religion, or ability to pay. Each emergency has specific characteristics that are dependent on local facts and circumstances. Direct Relief coordinates local, national, and international responders to ensure efficient use of resources while avoiding duplication of efforts or logistical bottlenecks. Funds raised through this campaign will generate efficient responses to today's major crises and will leverage resources to maximize continued health improvement around the world. Love, your friends in the Bungie Foundation. That's great. I will be participating. I will figure out all that stuff this weekend. Bungie artists. Hell yeah. As Season of the Splicer winds down, we wanted to make a quick look back at some of the amazing art created for it. We have lined up several of the artists who worked on Season of the Splicer to showcase their work. Make sure to click their name, see all their art they available with their personal sites. ArtStation? ArtStation. Hell yeah. This is Mike Stavrides. Wrong tab. Eris in the back. Oh, it's a video. Oh, it's probably... I wonder if this was the first build of the rework of Vogue. Stellar. Vault of Glass Future Shade. Oh, nice. So they did... It seems like they did all the porting of... Oh, they did the launch... Mike, I love you. You created one of the best moments ever. Thank you. You and, hold on, Darren Lancey, Eric Castles, and Ray Broskovac. Thank you. That was amazing. Landy Ming did amazing work for Expunged. And all the... Ooh, you also did outside too? Oh, they did all the lighting. Great job. Like, the lighting really is amazing. Fantastic job. Help design Season of the Helm. Oh, so you're like a... Oh, wait. Wait, why is this... Wait. Why is this also Eve? Oh, world art by Eve. Okay, never mind. For a second, I was like... Wait, you made this, but why is the profile here? It's because I just don't... I don't use ArtStation very often. By the way, Eve, also fantastic. 9 Hiders on Twitter. Great person. cinematic lighting and the Beyond Light stuff. Dude, yeah, you're doing great things, Lanny. Thank you so much. Maybe it's Lonnie. Sorry if I said your name wrong. Please don't hate me. Mike Poe. I opened it twice because I'm dumb. So good. They have so many talented people at the studio for literally every discipline they have. It's amazing. Wait a minute. Where is the... Oh, is this like as you drop down to the Gorgon maze? It might be. Eve designed the helm. I believe Eve was responsible for... Here, I'll just pull up Eve's profile. Eve is the one of the senior world artists at Bungie. Is also making their own game. But yeah, like a lot of the stuff like Presage, Eve is responsible for. And also, yeah, it seems like Eve also built the helm. So yeah. Where was I at? Mike, yeah. So good, dude. And Thad Stefan. Oh, did you make the splicer part of the helm? You sure did? This is really good. I loved how like this atmosphere felt with the Elixir in it. Oh, you also did this? Oh, and then Eve helped out with that too. Dude, yeah, this like I know everyone kind of hates the whole system, but like can we talk about how fucking cool it looks though? Like the loom area with Ada is really fucking cool. It is really fucking cool. Ghost in the Shell vibes? Yeah, you should talk to Eve about that. Eve loves Ghost in the Shell. Redacted report. Okay, so there's... I'm not going to go through all the known issues list because I'm sure it's probably building up at this time. So we're going to talk about Tuesday. On Tuesday, 24th, D2 will undergo maintenance and preparation for Destiny 2 Update 3.3.0. 8 a.m. maintenance begins. You'll be kicked out at 8:45. 10 a.m. specific, you should be able to start downloading you should be able to have the update and be able to log back in. And then at 12, everything should be back up to snuff. Should be good to go. Below are some issues that will be resolved with Update 3.3.0. Players will receive the bird error code when trying to get to the Wall of Wishes. The added Big One spec weapon model will now correctly appear in the collections. Bounties, Valor, and weekly challenges correctly gained in Crucible matches. Woo! Also, I will get all the subs as they happened during the reading, which it looks like y'all were pretty patient, so I don't have many to go through. Claim your rewards. Get your season rewards, chat. Turn your tokens. Valor and Infamy. Grab those two. Yep. Crossplay names. Talked about this earlier. As a reminder, Crossplay will go live early in Season of the Redacted. When players log in for the first time to play Season of the Redacted, the name on whatever platform they log in will become their Bungie name for when Crossplay goes live. Below is a list of reminders regarding player names. Read through this if it applies to you, chat. Heroes Memorial Quest. Some players have reported issues requiring the Season of the Splicer final quest. To resolve this issue, players should log into each character and each of the Splice servitor in the quest archive for this quest to collect. Please be aware this quest will be completed on one character. Players may have to listen to each radio message in the helm, first by going to orbit and back to the helm each time until all radio messages have been listened to. Players may have to complete all Season 14 quests in their inventory and log out and back into the game. Players may have to pick up and complete a bounty and complete an override activity. Known issues. Fuck. We resolved an issue causing the Gift Week Sub-Week bounty... Well, God, Gift Sub-Weekly bounty in the Destiny 2 extension to not complete reviewers who purchase gift subs. Players who purchase gift subs for the bounty can now acquire their bounty rewards from Amanda Holiday at the tower before the weekly reset. We resolved an issue causing Xbox players with negative silver balances. Should be good to go. Players' full inventory will not earn Season Redacted sealed currency, and the currency will go to the postmaster, or will not go to the postmaster. I'm just gonna send this to exactly one person. One moment. Just gonna... Cool. The Arbalest exotic linear fusion rifle will not work with anti-champion mods in Season of the Redacted in a future update. Anti-barrier will be added as an intrinsic perk for the weapon. When charged melee is mapped for an input, changing the button layout will retain that mapping. Players can reset the custom layout or clear the mapping for charged melee to fix the issue. The radio, Larian fluid persists and continues damage for about 8-9 seconds after the visual pool disappears. Yeah, it's annoying. Elevator, the Carbon Strike, sometimes cannot be interacted with. Warlock's Warp doesn't have Blink if Hold Sprint is active. A second weekly Nightfall scored stat tracker is present in the stat trackers. A lot of words. I think we're done. 5 more sleeps until the reveal. You are more than welcome to join us for the main party on our channels, but if you have a community that you would like to watch reveals with, co-streaming is live for this event. We've been hyping this up, but at the same time, don't want to overhype. Let's just say that you should expect at least one video and someone talking about Destiny. I've said too much. Listen, we're excited and hope you enjoy what we've been cooking up. See you next Tuesday. Why is there just a black... why did Cosmos just submit a black screen as an image? All right, that's weird.